In the Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Confederation, there was an unusual amount of commotion. High Commander Kaiser of the Razorclaw Dominion slammed all 4 of his claws onto the polished obsidian table, which caused a few holograms to flicker. "This is outrageous," he said, his jaw clicking in anger. "We are the most feared warriors in the Andromeda sector. Lesser species tremble at the mere mention of our name." Then, he seemed to choke on his next words, and a rumble of agreement coursed through the room. As I made my way through the chamber, I noticed a number of social media posts from humans. The ambassador for humanity, a thorn in the flesh of the near hunters, snarled under her midnight black fur and bristled as she said, "Observe this atrocity. They're calling my hunting claws toe beans, that's nothing." The creatures in question were a variety of terrifying predators, including plasma-breathing vulkars, shadow-stalking night hunters, and psychically terrifying mind reavers. Despite their terrifying reputation, the ambassador for humanity described the creatures as adorable. Grand Patriarch Valak of the Valari rumbled, his magma-like skin crackling with indignation. "They've started making plush toys of our warrior caste. My grandson received one last week as a gift from a human diplomat, and he sleeps with it every night." Several universal translators had to readjust their focus as High Counselor Zixth of the Mind floated silently above his chair, his tentacles writhing in what might have been embarrassment. "The humans in our sector have started what they call a fan club." An ancient crystalline entity chimed harmonically, its crystalline form reflecting light in what humans would likely describe as a sparkly manner. The thought deeply unsettled him, and he declared us to be of absolutely precious order in the Council of the Supreme Chancellor. "We must treat this matter with the gravity it deserves, as humanity's failure to acknowledge our species as apex predators is becoming a galactic crisis." Crisis last week, a Shadow Weaver representative hissed from the shadows. "Someone attempted to scratch behind my audio sensors, and I was called a good boy, what they call a papa cusset, which I quickly regretted after learning." The chamber descended into chaos as proposals swung back and forth, with some suggesting galaxy-wide intimidation displays and others demanding formal apologies. But deep down, everyone on the council knew it was too late. Humanity had seen them, and instead of being scared, they found them adorable. The Supreme Chancellor's crystals chimed again, demanding attention. He then announced, "Listen up. We've heard rumors that humans are planning an intergalactic pet show." The subsequent silence was thunderous. Commander Vexer of the Zirian Imperial Battle Fleet stood proudly on his command deck, his 8-foot-tall stature reflecting the starlight, his 20-ship fleet below him. Warships had recently encircled a solitary human exploration vessel. Now was the moment to prove to these newcomers why the Zirian was the most feared predator in the area. With a growl and a display of his 3 rows of serrated teeth, the Cygnus opened communications, allowing them to see their impending doom. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the human bridge crew. Drew, standing tall, unfurled his retractable claws and activated his bioluminescent threat displays. "Oh my goodness, those scales look like sequins." Lieutenant squealed in shock. Rodriguez from the science station asked if they can change color. Vexer blinked his eyes in confusion, but that wasn't important. Chin was excited because their teeth glow, which is cool. "Do you think they purr?" "No," Vexer roared, his scales changing to a menacing crimson. "We are the apex predators, the scourge of the star lanes." Rodriguez clapped her hands in delight. Captain Helena Chin of the U.S. Discovery leaned forward in her chair, a warm smile spreading across her face. "Your species is absolutely magnificent," she said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. "Those retractable claws must be perfect for keeping them sharp and clean. And your jaw structure? I bet you have amazing bite force metrics, the highest in 3 sectors." Vexer Pred suddenly stopped himself, but he should be terrified because this is a show of dominance. Are you interested in competing? The powerful Zara commander noticed his scales changing colors in an erratic pattern. Admiral Yex, his second in command, whispered, "What should we do? Our threat displays seem to be having the opposite effect." "They look excited." Chin Stage whispered, "They're like friendship noodles." "We are not friendship noodles." Thor roared, but his heart was heavy. Admiral Yex perked up despite himself, like prey simulators down. Admiral Vexer hissed, but it seemed like he was losing interest after witnessing humans' astonishment and fear at his most terrifying features. Captain Chen had an idea. "Why don't you dock with us? Our xenobiologists would love to learn more about your species, and we have great environmental enrichment programs. I'm sure we could find toys that would really showcase your hunting prowess." Unfortunately, the human crew was already showing signs of excitement. Rodriguez seemed positively giddy, and I bet they would have loved a laser pointer. 2 hours later, Commander Vexer found himself watching INX horror in fascination while half of his command staff chased red dots around the human ship's recreation deck. What's worse is that he was fighting an overwhelming urge to join them. "The Council will never believe this," he mumbled, "just like Captain." With a mischievous grin, Chin approached with a feather wand. "Would you like to give it a go?" "I swear we won't tell anyone," she said. Vexer glanced at the toy, then at his completely preoccupied crew, and finally at himself, his scales now an embarrassingly eager purple. With a single pounce, he grumbled about diplomatic relations. The galactic extranet was transformed after humans gained access to it. It had been a sophisticated network for sharing military intelligence, trade agreements, and... At the Night Hunter Embassy on Earth, Ambassador Thorn and Darkness saw her social media feed with increasing horror as she scrolled through the latest diplomatic threat display that had garnered the once feared battle fleet's attempt to demonstrate their high-speed attack maneuvers backfired spectacularly. People started sharing videos set to upbeat music, declaring it the cutest thing ever. With over 2.3 million likes and countless comments, the ambassador's fur puffed up in anger as she switched to another channel. On the other hand, humans had created a platform called Rate My Predator where they could rate different ape species based on their snuggle factor and fluffiness ability. Meanwhile, High Commander Cut was confronted with a crisis of unprecedented proportions in the Razorclaw Dominion. The warriors were unable to carry out their traditional hunting rituals as planned due to the constant attention from humans. As a result, training exercises in Sectors 7-12 have been cancelled. The officer's nervous clicking indicated that humans have discovered our molting season is approaching, and they are preparing grooming stations, what they call Operation Scale Care, to ensure the optimal happiness of our danger noodles. Mandibles twitched and our warriors are lining up for appointments. The humans have these brushes that get under the auxiliary plates. I don't know about them, but it's not looking good for the Mind Reavers. After a failed attempt to broadcast psychic terror waves, the humans claimed their tentacles were completely squishable and wanted plush versions in different colors. High Counselor Zishi had to call an emergency session after she found out someone had made an entire virtual Tentacle Pets was a virtual reality app that allowed users to interact with Mind Reavers and observe how their psychic auras changed color in response to happiness. The Valari were also included in the program, and they were neither spared nor spared from the humans' desire to use them as high-end space heaters. In fact, Grand Patriarch Volume 10 received daily requests for cuddle sessions, and during an emergency conference call with other predator species leaders, Volume 10 grumbled and projected a human face. A distressing social media post depicted a young key warrior being scratched under the chin. The warrior's normally menacing plasma glow had been subdued to a soothing warm purple. Ambassador Thorn and Darkness responded with a glum expression, holding aloft a plush replica of herself. It had glowing eyes and a button that played hunting growls. They called it Nightlight. The Shadow Weavers, on the other hand, had lost their power to harm their prey by rebranding their ability to merge with darkness. In an effort to alleviate the growing frustration among predator species, humans have instituted a certification program for apex predator care specialists. The 12-week course encompasses all aspects of this program, including official Shadow Weaver hunting ground tours, where humans are encouraged to bring treats and clicking toys in an effort to form friendships with the Void Kitties. Another development is the creation of a line of exhibit accessories by a human jewelry designer, who claims that the crystalline entity's terrifying forms are actually just big sparkly wind chimes. Modules on grasping the language of predators and advanced techniques for scratching multiple appendages. Commander Vexer, who is still reeling from the laser pointer incident, reluctantly consults the Zerian Care Guide chapter to ensure accurate information. He insists to anyone who would listen that the fact that he approved a whole section on optimal scale scratching patterns was strictly classified. The last straw was when humans began organizing predator play dates, where different species were. Invitees were asked to exercise and socialize in a controlled setting. The event description boasted enrichment activities and free battle snacks. What's more concerning is the long list of people who have expressed their interest in attending. In yet another emergency council session, Cut declared, "This has gone too far. We are terrifying predators, not snuggle by buddies." A representative from Shadow Weaver appeared, but vanished as soon as anyone looked at them. Maybe someone should have suggested Zibbet, with his crystals chiming thoughtfully, "That we." The first annual intergalactic pet show was held in the massive crystal dome of New Geneva. The chamber was filled with murmurs of agreement until someone's device alerted everyone that humans had just announced the galaxy's most huggable predator competition. After that, there was complete silence, broken only by the sound of a few council members covertly reviewing the registration requirements. Earth's premier diplomatic center hosted an event that attracted thousands of attendees from all over the galaxy. However, not everyone was pleased with the predator species turnout. Commander Vexer, representing the Zerian Empire, adjusted his diplomatic sash once again, attempting to ignore its suspicious resemblance to a show ribbon. He was here officially, not competing in the category for most iridescent scales. The fact that he had spent extra time that morning polishing his scales was completely coincidental. Strange coincidence, as the announcer's voice echoed through the dome, inviting all to an event that would bring together the most incredible creatures in the galaxy. The moderator introduced our esteemed panel of judges. The judges consisted of both human xenobiologists and self-proclaimed predator fans. One of them sat down, and Vexer pretended not to notice the shirt's remarkably realistic depiction of Zerian. Meanwhile, High Commander Kusut chittered anxiously from the diplomatic waiting area, which appeared to be more of a circus than a serious forum for military discussions. However, the human handler was actually providing premium treats tailored to each species, and the Razorclaw warriors made an effort to appear dignified while accepting their portion, but their excited mandible clicks revealed their true colors. Then, the announcer announced that the judges in the Near Hunter category would be judging ear tuft fluffiness, shadow merging technique, and overall midnight performance. Impressive territorial pride was on full display as Majesty Ambassador Thorn in Darkness was gracefully led into the show ring to negotiate border treaties. However, her protests were met with admiration from the judges, who noted that her fur automatically puffed up in response. The Mind Reavers, on the other hand, weren't faring much better. Their attempts to project diplomatic authority were somewhat undermined by the Psychic Light Show competition, where their tentacles were visible. The VYY delegation's protest about their status as living embodiments of plasma destruction lost some of its impact when it was revealed that they had been secretly practicing their heat control displays. Grand Patriarch Volcox's precise temperature modulation won him a special ribbon for most controlled. The judge gushed about the synaptic synchronization and harmonic color coordination. High Counselor Zishi's tentacles swirled in patterns of outrage, which happened to be absolutely mesmerizing. The Shadow Weavers entered the ring with a sinister grace, ready to showcase their terrifying ability to fuse with darkness. However, they were caught unawares by the humans' use of show lighting, which transformed their movements into a balletic dance routine. The audience gasped in astonishment as one of the shadow weavers inadvertently produced what appeared to be a precisely timed light and dark sequence. The crystal entities encountered a one-of-a-kind obstacle on their path to the exit, the shadow ballet. The Supreme Chancellor's speech about dignity was somewhat marred by the rainbow patterns he cast across the dome, an unprecedented prismatic harmony that a judge proclaimed, in such exact geometric formations. Things got wild during the talent portion of the show, when Commander Vexor's demonstration of battle tactics became a fan favorite. In the Razorclaw Warrior's precision drilling display, the video went viral before he even finished the routine. It was a synchronized choreography display, complete with scorecards for technical execution. KK was furious when he saw the scores, but the real mayhem started during the freestyle event, when a young Vulker accidentally created a heart-shaped flame pattern while trying to intimidate the judges with a plasma burst. The crowd's astonishment could be heard from 3 sectors away. The representatives of the predator species were adorned with ribbons during the awards ceremony, their protests waning as the prizes became more specific. The tentacles curled in shame as the audience applauded, and their mind-reaving psychic scream had taken the form of a breathtaking aurora borealis effect, earning them an immediate nomination for Best Light Show. The prizes were more specific, including Best Battle Floof, Most Harmonious Hunting, Screech, Outstanding Predatory Elegance, Most Babel Threat Display, Exceptional Murder, and Mitten Maintenance. The 9 hunters were named Most Luxurious for Maintenance instead of Most Terrifying Stalkers, the Mind Reaver's Most Enchanting Tentacle, and Commander Vexor, now sporting 6 ribbons and a Best in Division sash, attempted to maintain his dignity while announcing this diplomatic triumph to his crew, who were too engrossed in comparing their own ribbons to respond to Lee. It's clear that this is a complex form of psychological warfare. At the after-party, Kusud announced that, while accepting a brush grooming from a certified handler, we were the most graceful void dancers, not the most psychotic. As the event came to a close, treats were distributed, photos were taken, and the predator species had to face an uncomfortable truth: they had actually enjoyed themselves. Captain Chen inquired about Commander Vexor's plans for the upcoming cycle, and Vexor admitted to trying to conceal his new favorite feather wand in his diplomatic pouch for strategic observation. Chen then revealed that Vexor's scale had changed to a pleasing purple, which betrayed his true colors. The humans had succeeded in transforming the galaxy's most feared predators into willing participants in what was basically a glorified IED pet show. Words: the most terrifying place the Predator Species Alliance could find for an emergency meeting was the volcanic caverns of Nexus Prime. The setting was perfect, perfectly erupting lava, jagged rocks, and periodic steam explosions, but the humans had already decided it was too cozy and proposed adding fairy lights. At this crisis meeting, Supreme Chancellor Zibit chimed his crystals deliberately dulled to look more menacing, a lesson he'd learned the hard way after. Commander Vexor, during the disco ball incident at the pet show, slouched in his chair while still wearing his show ribbons. He attempted to remove them, but it seemed like the humans had used an advanced adhesive, or so he claimed. High Commander Cut, faced with the dire situation, started to ignore the new automatic grooming responses that mandibles had developed whenever humans were mentioned. Our species is losing its edge. Last week, a Razorclaw warrior postponed an invasion because it was a treat. As the near hunters encounter a similar issue, Ambassador Thorn in the Darkness reported with a glum tone that our newest recruits are evaluating hunting grounds more for their scratchable surfaces than their tactical advantages. A nervous representative from the Mind Reavers floated around, and we've had to rethink our psychic attack patterns due to people comparing them to underwater ballet. Now our warriors are asking for choreography lessons, so at least you can maintain some dignity. Grand Patriarch VX rumbled, and the Vulker youth are honing their temperature fighting skills. In a bizarre turn of events, a shadow weaver emerged from the shadows, their voice eerily haunting. To our horror, we discovered one of our most feared assassins engaged in a game of peekaboo with a human child, emerging from various corners of the room using advanced shadow melding techniques. The child had given them a sticker, and to this day, they still wear it. The council chamber descended into anarchy as word spread of Xerian battle fleets coordinating their attacks. A terrifying display of force across all sectors was proposed by the council, and Operation Restore Fear was launched. Crystal entities arranged themselves into aesthetic formations on purpose. Razor Claw warriors participated in enrichment activities. Mind Reavers offered relaxing psychic massage services, and we must take action. Cut slammed his appendages down, declaring that we must remind the galaxy why we are feared. Was a colossal bust. The Xerian intimidating battle formation was mistaken for synchronized swimming. Near Hunter's mass shadow stalking demonstration became the biggest game of hide and seek in the galaxy. Mind Reaver's Psychic Terror Wave became a popular relaxation app set to music. People have even begun to rate our threat displays on social media. Zibit reported projecting the latest trending posts. Razor Claws. Commander Vexer, who had been unusually silent, finally spoke up. Maybe we're approaching this wrong. Everyone looked at him. Has anyone else noticed that since humans started treating us like pets, our lives have actually improved? A guilty silence fell over the chamber. My scales have never been healthier. He continued, his color shifting to embarrassed purple. Those devil tentacles do the cutest little wiggle when they're trying to be scary. Their enrichment activities are great for combat training. More confessions followed. Grooming is great for molt season. Treats are balanced for our nutritional needs. Belly rubs are therapeutic. And toys actually sharpen our hunting reflexes. At last, the truth they'd been trying to hide came to light. Humans weren't anthropomorphizing them. They were actively caring for them, and doing a surprisingly good job. But we're supposed to be terrifying, Scott protested weakly, even as he absent-mindedly. The council sat in contemplative silence, broken only by the soft purring of several members who would later deny making such sounds. When was the last time any of our species actually had to fight for resources? Volume 10 admitted that his plasma chambers had never been more comfortable. Thorn in Darkness asked if humans provide everything and constantly work to improve our quality of life. Your point, expressed slowly, is that we have been domesticated, not vexatiated, as you so aptly pointed out, into a symbiotic relationship that benefits both of us. The Predator-Species Alliance has faced its worst crisis to date, but now they're beginning to accept that perhaps being humanity's pets wasn't the worst fate in the galaxy. Moving on to the next topic, Kusut chittered resignedly, asking whether we should formally recognize treat time as a diplomatic ceremony. The motion was passed unanimously, with 6 abstentions. A publication by Dr. J of the Human Zoologic Institute sent shockwaves through the galactic community a few months after the Great Pet Show incident. The paper was titled The Apex Advantage: A Correlation Between Human Adoration and the Societal Development of Predator Species. The results proved without a doubt that species cared for by humans exhibited a 3,000% spike in technological advancement, a 500% increase in resource allocation, and an unprecedented 1,000% improvement in quality of life. Works Commander Vexer, who is now wearing a specially made comfort collar for diplomatic reasons, solely shared the data with the Predator Species Alliance. Look at these numbers, he exclaimed, his voice betraying his excitement. Since humans started managing our territories, interspecies conflicts have dropped to 0. It's like they're solving all our problems with treats and belly rubs. The evidence of this was all over the Razorclaw dominions, where new human-designed battle stations featured automated grooming stations and premium scratching posts. Warriors were more efficient and well-groomed than ever before, according to High Commander Cut. Positive reinforcement training helped his troops perform better, though he still couldn't figure out how to tell good boys from bad. The Near Hunter's stealth training games increased their shadow stalking abilities by a factor of 10. The fact that these games involved chasing laser pointers through obstacle courses was classified information, but what about our terrifying reputations? Shadow Weaver's representative inquired, while they relaxed in a void hammock designed by humans, about the current state of the galaxy. Patriarch Valak, who had previously been feared as plasma-breathing destroyers, now projected a picture of the Valari as premium protection forces. Since humans began marketing the Weavers as free security and heating solutions, their contracts had tripled. The Mind Reaver's psychic abilities were in high demand, but not for warfare, but for entertainment and therapy. Tentacle meditation sessions became the most popular form of therapy in the galaxy. Exquisite spa treatments were available, and even the crystal entities had transformed into beautiful works of art and architecture. Supreme Chancellor Sibit reluctantly took on the role of Chief Ambience Coordinator for major diplomatic events, but he couldn't help but feel a twinge of shame as he stood in the sunshine next to Ambassador Thorn in darkness. It was clear that humans had done more than just domesticate us, they had upgraded us. The evidence was overwhelming, showing that predator species now controlled 70% of galactic resources through entirely legal adoption papers and territorial claims. Protected by humanity's surprisingly comprehensive pet protection laws, other species became eligible for special protection under the Species Act. The last word came at the second annual Intergalactic Pet Show, when Exor accepted his Best in Galaxy ribbon, an accomplishment of which he was completely unhappy. A small dispute arose among the attendees prior to any potential intervening predators. Captain Chen stepped forward. "Apologies," she asked. "Are you bothered by our fluffs?" The disputed parties took a small step forward. Fortunately, Captain Chen's intervention prevented the Species Act from going into effect. Witnessed the spectacle of the Predator-Species Alliance, now formally recognized as a protected status symbol, as they gathered for one last meeting to formally acknowledge their newfound status. The meeting took place in a human-designed conference hall. Cut, with his jaws clicking in astonishment, wondered if humans had simply weaponized our pet status. Vexer, with his human handler offering a celebratory treat, replied in the affirmative. Room with cozy lighting, heated floors, and scratching posts, all in favor of us being humanity's beloved top pets, as the exhibit chimed. The vote was unanimous, though a few species denied making any pet-like noises during the proceedings. The galaxy adapted to the new normal. Humans kept collecting predator species, and predator species continued to enjoy their improved quality of life. Everyone else learned a valuable lesson: never underestimate humanity's power to transform even the most terrifying creatures into beloved pets. During the pet show's closing ceremony, Commander Vexer made the comment, "We wanted to be feared as predators, but somehow ended up with something better. We became humanity's beloved companions." He continued, "The galaxy would never be the same, but maybe that was exactly what it needed: less fear, more pets, and the occasional belly rub. After all, who wouldn't want to be humanity's pet when it came with deluxe snacks, limitless snuggles, and total galactic protection?"